there was a baseball writer who had put out one of the dumbest things. There are times when you have to kind of question, is somebody doing something for attention? And this was undoubtedly for attention. No one can convince me otherwise. This is rage bait at its finest. So there's this guy, Derek Gould. Derek Gould is the lead baseball writer for the St. Louis Post-Dispatch. I need to see what Derek Gould put out on Twitter. Was this today? Yes, it was. No, it was yesterday. Sorry. It was last night. He put out his NL MVP ballot for the Baseball Writers of America. So this guy is allowed to vote on MVP, has a vote submitted to the BBWAA. 2025 MVP, National League MVP. Number 1, Shohei Ohtani. Number 2, Juan Soto. Number 3, Geraldo. Is that Perdomo? Okay. Number 4, Paul Skeens. So we went with the pitcher at number 4. Number 5, Kyle Schwarber. Number 6, Christopher Sanchez. Oh, another pitcher. And a guy who probably will finish number 2 in the Cy Young voting. 2 Paul Skeens. Okay, that's fair. Francisco Lindor, Corbin Carroll, Fernando Tatis Jr., and then Bryce Petrong. So here's my problem. Okay, real simple. Kyle Schwarber behind Juan Soto. Juan Soto had an empty stats season. Juan Soto's team had the highest payroll in baseball and didn't make the playoffs. How valuable was Juan Soto to his team? How valuable was he? Because I could tell you that Kyle Schwarber was easily the most valuable player on the Philadelphia Phillies. Now, yeah, sure, the Phillies didn't advance far in the playoffs. And yes, Kyle Schwarber didn't have a great playoffs, except for, was it game 3 when he had multiple home runs and seemed to be the only guy at the top of the order who could hit. Schwarber easily should be number 2 on this ballot. I fully expect Shohei Ohtani is going to win MVP. I don't know how many people would push back on it. But to put Kyle Schwarber at number 5, that is rage bait. There is no way that this guy could possibly believe that Schwarber was only the 5th most impactful or 5th most valuable player. Now, I actually don't hate, and I've seen people kind of hating on this idea that Paul Skeens could be in the top 5 or even the top 4. I don't necessarily hate it. If this had gone like Shohei Ohtani, Kyle Schwarber, and then Paul Skeens at number 3 because of what a great season he had, fine. Could I make the case that like Christopher Sanchez, maybe, like this is where things get really tricky, right? Because you try not to be a homer about this, but like Christopher Sanchez was pitching in games that had significantly more pressure for a team that had legitimate playoff aspirations. Paul Skeens was pitching for a team that's largely irrelevant and does not have any pressure whatsoever. Could I make a case that Skeens should be the Cy Young winner, but on an MVP ballot, Christopher Sanchez is more valuable to his team? I could. I actually think that that's where the more interesting discussion is had. Christopher Sanchez was more important, more valuable to his team, the Philadelphia Phillies, making the playoffs than Paul Skeens was to his irrelevant Pirates team. I would also note that once Zach Wheeler went down, the ace of the staff, Sanchez stepped up his game to an entirely other level, which makes him even more valuable that he then took on that role of being the ace. So in a weird way, I could see saying Skeens belongs higher on the Cy Young list, but on the MVP ballot, I think you can actually make a case Christopher Sanchez was more valuable to his team. Just say it. Video guy Amadeo is absolutely going to clip that up because that'll piss off a bunch of Pirates fans, I guess. I don't know. But here's the other thing. Kyle Schwarber should not be number 5 on an MVP list. That's insane. If you wanted, like, if you sniffed enough glue and you really think Juan Soto should be number 2, then there's no reason that Schwarber shouldn't be number 3. I don't get it. I don't know what this guy's point was. And then there were some spats that he got into when people were kind of throwing this idea about, like, you know, it seems like people were really focused on the Skeens of it all. But somebody goes, Schwarber feels low, but I don't hate the Skeens or Sanchez thing that high. And the guy goes, I think you make a great point. It's one I wrestled with for sure. Couldn't do tied for 3rd or 4th, had to choose. Somebody else asked, why did you choose to play Schwarber 5th? I'm sure you are aware that this is extremely contrarian to your peers and public opinion. This guy, Derek Gould, says, it was indeed. I had him 4th or 5th and ultimately decided to put my top pitcher at number 4, given performance and how he stood out. It was just a call between all pitchers, all a pitcher does to influence his games. Just ahead of that, Schwarber can definitely argue the opposite. I think this was a contrarian take. I think that this was a legitimate attempt to just have a contrarian take. I think it's absolutely nuts. So I don't get it. I do not understand it whatsoever.